When I came to this country and I was teaching math, they're not even using the intellect that much. They're making people just memorize facts. So
Yeah.
we're not teaching people to be skeptical. We're not helping kids to be, you know, critical thinkers. We're just making people memorize and believe in whatever the teachers are telling them. So
Yeah.
we got to confuse people more. New generation is more confused. Kids are completely confused. So as an educator, I realize we're not developing whether the intellect or the intuition. We're not
Mhm.
developing anything because really teaching math in this country made me feel depressed. And then I said, like, okay, what's there to do? Should I create a new program to teach the true math? Math is not about, the computer can do the counting and the memorization. Math about developing the critical thinking skills. If I
Mhm.
am a consciousness that's supposed to be evolving, first thing is I'm not supposed to repeat the life of my parents and my elders and I'm supposed to expand and do better. So we're supposed to evolve to something better, not a copy paste of what was done before.
Mhm.
So they don't have that ability yet, the students in the West. Even in the East, they're just following now. And we don't even develop the intuitive side. That's basically you tap to the database, you can see the future probability, you can change it and make a better outcome for you. So I felt like when I met you and we spoke before about like, okay, what should I pick to be a healer after I got the certified healer or to be an educator? I feel myself like more toward the education. If I can help with the education, help put something based on your model and based on the spiritualities that I gained also from the Quran, we may have a better outcome for the future generation. But
Mhm.
honestly, I mean, in my own experience as an educator, we're not developing the intellect as well.
No, that's true. We're really not. I think it's the system, not the larger conscious system, but our social system. Yeah,
Yeah.
our social system has created, a lot of these problems that we have. What we're doing when we put people in school and get them to memorize things, yes, I call that kind of math plug and chug. You just memorize what are the steps to get from A to B and solve the problem, and you do that. But it doesn't teach you to think or understand. It only teaches you to get right answers. And what you have then is you have a person who's been through school, been through college, been through graduate school, and if they run into a problem that they didn't see in a book, they can't solve it.
I can't do it.
They can't do it. They say, well, I haven't been taught how to solve this problem, so I don't know how to solve it and can't do it. And they're just stuck because they can't really think for themselves. They only can regurgitate what's been stuffed into their heads. And that's unfortunate. So it creates people who are not creative.
Mhm.
It creates people who are um, not inventive, can't can't think out of the box.
Yeah.
And what happens is that when you have a majority that's one way, then they tend to look down at all the minorities that are a different way. So then anybody who can think out of the box, oh, they're a problem. You know, I can remember when my son was in school, and of course I was helping teach him. And when I taught him math, I taught him how to understand it. And he often would not solve a problem the same way the teacher would. The teacher would solve it this way, but with mathematics, there's 100 different ways to approach a problem. It's the it's the underlying logic is what's important and why that logic is true.
Mhm.
So he would approach the problem a little differently and get the same answer, but he would be marked wrong because he didn't get the answer in the right way,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just awful, So the kids who are creative and who can think out of the box and who have a deeper understanding are penalized in our system.
Mm-hmm.
Life is made more difficult for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're told that they're wrong. They need to do it this way. And most of our tests are time tests. It's important that you get so many right answers in a certain amount of time. Well, the way to get right answers in a short amount of time is to memorize everything. Then you don't have to think, because thinking takes time. Thinking and mental process is not a quick process. That takes time to consider. And if you're deriving everything from first principles, well, it's going to take you more time. So you won't do as well on the test, because the tests are created for people who memorize. It's it's an unfortunate attitude that we
Yes.
have, but what it ends up doing is creating a whole bunch of little cogs for the big industrial machine. People who are happy just, turning their crank, and doing that day after day in this big machine, and they don't ask questions and they don't make trouble, and they are just like everybody else. And that's kind of what we've, I think, purposely done. We've created our social system, and our educational system is a great producer of of cogs for a wheel, for wheels
Mm-hmm.
and gears in a big industrial machine someplace. And thinking out of the box is usually punished. Now, there's a few who think out of the box and get away with it. And those few, that 1/10 of 1%, is what gives us all of our breakthroughs, all of our, big understandings and new inventions. It's just that very small group of people who do that. But still, they are kept in line socially by our social standards, so that even though they can think out of the box in this field, they're still expected to act like everybody else, dress like everybody else, think like everybody else. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're too different, well, we call them weirdos, and kind of push them aside, and we are afraid of them, actually.
Yeah.
The culture's afraid of them. So you're right there. And that's one of the things that will fix itself once people have a bigger picture. As people grow up and have a bigger understanding of what life is about, who they are, then much of the dysfunction we have in our culture will just disappear with that understanding. It's not like we're going to have to go fix it,
And
build a better machine. It'll just naturally evolve into a kinder, gentler, more productive space for everyone. And you won't have to really design that new thing. It'll just come about all by itself. And a thing for people to understand is that the people that we find to be part of the problem, the greedy corporate CEOs, or the politicians who lie and cheat, we think that's the problem, and if we could get rid of those people, everything would be fine. But they'd just be replaced by other people just like them. What
mm-hmm.
we need to do is change ourselves, and then those people will just go away. We won't have to grab them and pull them out of their positions. They will just evolve like the rest of us. And the CEOs will care about the communities they're in, and about the people who work for them, and about their customers. And making money will only be something that's necessary as to keep the venture going and going strong. It won't be, oh, let's see how much money we can collect and how rich we can all become. It won't be a motivation anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So all those problems aren't basic fundamental problems. They're all just um, what's the word, symptoms of our low quality of consciousness. And once we, the people, increase the quality of our consciousness, those symptoms will disappear all by themselves. We won't have to engineer the perfect economic system. The perfect economic system probably doesn't exist because it's probably changes from time to time depending on the needs of the people, and it will just automatically,
That's,
change as needed.
yeah.
So
You just
it'll
said
all take care of itself. It's all us.
yeah,
We have to
to
change.
change.
We have to change.
This statement of yours, Tom, like we need to change ourselves. It's a verse in chapter I got, and it says the system will not change you. You need to change yourselves. So basically, the
Mhm.
larger consciousness system that we call, and I call MLA, you call it LCS. MLA is for me in Arabic, the Quranic terms, Allah wa malaikatuhu, which means the system is not gonna change you. You need to change yourselves because that's our purpose on earth. It's a
Mhm.
school that we need to change ourselves. And once we change ourselves, the president or the director, the CEO is going to be among us, and then he's going to be just like us. So as long as we didn't change ourselves, things are changing a bit in America. When I came 30 years ago, and I went to teach in the engineering school at Syracuse University. The first class I walk in, and the kids were so frightened. They're opening to look at their, you know, at their schedules. Is she the right professor? Like they're looking at their things, and then I looked at them. Of course, because I'm covered, I'm the only one covered at the university back then. They were like, "Are we with the right class, with the right professor? This is engineering. How can we have a Muslim woman as an engineer?" You were frightened. So I remember I just gave them that laugh and love, and I told them, "Listen, you're not here to become a Muslim. You're here to learn engineering, and I am a good engineer." And in fact, after that, I received like the all the awards. The kids go and nominate me for the awards, and they loved me. Um, Even what made me stop getting my PhD was I was going to transfer to go to math education because math in America was awful. These are supposed to be engineers coming
Mm.
out of Syracuse
Oh,
University.
yeah.
And then they come to me, a simple, simple thing in math, they can't do it. So I would volunteer on my weekends to teach them the math courses, redo the math courses that they took in high school and in engineering school to help them understand,
Mhm.
the engineering problems. So then when I wanted to transfer, I remember to go to math education, the head of the department of the engineering school, and he was also the vice president of the university. He was supposed to write the recommendation letter for me to send it to the Department of Education. By mistake, he sent it to me. And I think the LCS did it for a reason. So when he sent it to me by mistake, I got that email. He said, she's born a teacher. Basically, she doesn't need to do the PhD. I was like, aha, that's something for me to know. I'm not supposed to get the PhD. That's when I quit. I said, I'm just going to go to college. I'm going to just go teach and educate kids and volunteer my time. So when I went to college to teach in college, I stopped the PhD, went to teach in college. It was a shock for me. These kids, like, I wrote about it in my book. I said the gatekeepers, these kids, they come and they say, I hate math. I just need that course to get the degree. I go like, why? My teacher in the third grade said, you don't do math. You're not supposed to be good in math. They just destroy them at young age. So, I switch my math courses to the first 15, 20 minutes playing with consciousness. I tell them like, let us just visualize we are all getting A. I just do it naturally. We're all getting A at the end of the semester. And then my grading system was against the American system. You know how they give you have to do 100 point and blah, blah, blah. So me, I would give them like 50 problems, okay? And I grade them on 25. They don't know that. I just tell them, do whatever you can and we'll see. So I grade each one on his potential, what they can do. So then, out of 50, they're going to be graded on 25 only. So they're going to get 50% and they pass the class with an A. After that, those kids started to realize, I'm good at math. I can get an A. They come back to take the next level with me. And It's all needed, some consciousness, awareness. You can do it. You have the power.
Hmm.
And I've always told all my kids, there is no difference between me and you. They tell me, no, you're different. You have psychic abilities. I say, no, I developed them when I realized they work. Because I remember whenever I go to an exam and I get what I want, I started to say, oh, that works. Just like you said, your aha moment with Bob, my aha moment was just at young age, like, oh, that works. I can get A's in every exam. So I'm trying to teach the new generation of kids, use your intuition and then use your intellect, then you'll be free. But it's so much fear in these kids about women, Muslim, math, this, it's all fear based. So
Hmm.
as I feel myself, like lots of people tell me, why do you cover? I say, I have to cover. I need to show those kids I am a Muslim and I'm normal and we can be here, we can love each other, we can care. You should not care about the dress code or how I pray. What matters is I love you and I want the best for you. In fact, sometimes I joke with my husband. I tell him, Tom keeps telling us to let go of fear. I'm trying to let go of love because I love people so much. So, so there's a lots of work to be done. But in general, I feel, Tom, if we can just find a way to make your teaching much simpler to these people and put it as a curriculum for the little ones, we will do a great job to help humanity
Hmm.
evolve. Just like I'm trying to put the Quran, I did put a new curriculum for my Quranic students. It took me forever, 25 years, to finally put the curriculum from the age of 4 all the way to college, how to understand Quran with time and helps you to evolve to have a good, conscious, aware life with, basically based on love, like you say. And when you love the other unconditionally, you just look at him, they're playing their turn. Like, I go everywhere and I look at them like, you're just playing your golf. I mean, it's not gonna bother me, you know.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah, if we could, it would be very, very difficult to do in our school system, but if we could teach things like critical thinking, how to think for yourself, how to know the difference between facts and opinions. Most people
People
just
know that.
don't have a clue, the difference between a fact and opinion. And there's a lot of things they call facts that are not facts at all.
Yeah.
And I guess also facts, opinions, and beliefs. Just for kids to appreciate you know those kinds of things, to be creative, to understand deeply, to question